Indiana Disability History Project, Indiana Institute on Disability and Community, Indiana University.
Helping overcome barriers to employment.
As an employment consultant, we help folks who have barriers to employment to find jobs in the community. And we get referrals sometimes from vocational rehabilitation, so they're people maybe we've not met before that maybe have a physical, a mental, or an emotional barrier to employment. Sometimes we wind up getting referrals through other staff in our agency, either therapists or rehabilitation specialists or case managers will refer current Centerstone clients for services. So we work with people who are at various stages in the job seeking process. Some people are just kind of generally talking about, I would like to work one day. Some people are, I need a job tomorrow. Some people have never heard of vocational rehabilitation. Other people, like I say, have been through the whole process, and we meet them for the first time once they've been found eligible for services through them. When we meet somebody for the first time, we would do what's called a vocational assessment with them, and that's a tool to kind of help us to figure out where they've been in terms of work, where they would like to go. If they've identified where they'd like to go, do they have the skill set, the experience, the education that might be required for that, and kind of help them to figure out what is their starting point. If they're someone who's wants to go into a job that they are qualified for right now, we kind of help them to work on things like getting their resume together and practicing interviewing to kind of hit the ground running. If there is additional training that's needed, we help them to sort of figure out how they can get that training and kind of develop a timeline from there. Sometimes people might come to us and have an idea of I would like to do this, but it's not something they've ever done before. So we can help them kind of test the waters with volunteer opportunities or what we call work experiences, where they're paid a stipend and able to kind of try out a job with a community employer. And sometimes that works out great, and then sometimes they say, oh, that was nothing, like I thought it was going to be, so I'd like to kind of revise my job goal. Sometimes people are really adamant and sure that that they want to go in one direction, and then sometimes people haven't worked in a long time and they need to pay their bills and they say, I will do anything. And I think that people kind of think that makes them maybe more marketable because they're so open and things like that. But vocational rehabilitation, they want someone to focus on one specific career path or career goal, because obviously they want them to be successful and to be happy, and if you go in to just take anything and wind up miserable, you're not going to want to stay. So we try to help people to kind of say, that's great that you're willing to be so open and to try lots of different things, but let's think about really what is going to make you happy, what is going to make you excited to get out of work every day and go, maybe even when it's 10 below, so that you can be happy and successful and have fulfillment in your life and have it be more than just a means to pay your bills. As a job coach, if someone needs on-site job coaching, we can be there to help them to learn how to do the job until they become independent. Typically we want to kind of phase out of that, whenever possible. So we do some of that. A lot of times people understandably want to do the job independently if they can. So we also do a lot of kind of behind the scenes job coaching, either meeting with people before or after their shift starts to kind of help talk through if they're having interpersonal issues, at work, dealing with their coworkers or supervisor, to kind of help them to navigate those issues, or if we can intervene with the employer sometimes if there are issues that there's a communication breakdown maybe between the employee and the employer. Sometimes we can help to kind of facilitate. At Centerstone, we have just recently merged with another grant project. It was called the Hope Project that ended, and that project aimed at helping to assist people who had been out of prison for 6 months or less to find employment. From that grant, a couple of the staff came over to Centers for Employment Services, and they're called employment coaches for us now. So they kind of help people who, if someone comes to us and really needs a lot of work in those practical areas, like maybe they need to learn how to use the bus system, maybe they need a lot of help with just dealing with kind of the personal things in their life to have stability that's going to enable them to be successful when they're ready to go to work. They sort of help them to become more prepared in those areas and spend a lot of time one-on-one working with them on whatever it is that they might be in need of assistance if they're not job ready at that point.
Music, Redwood Trail. Produced by Indiana Institute on Disability and Community, Center for Health Equity. Funded in part by the Indiana Governor's Council for People with Disabilities.
Copyright 2020, the Trustees of Indiana University.